Okay, so this is lamp 1 on 12 volts. Camera is currently set to 5.6, 100 ISO, a 47th, and the center of the paper is at 54%. 54%. Going to change over to lamp 2 now. Okay, so this is lamp 2. We're at a 47th of a second, f5.6, 100 ISO, and the center of the screen is at 55%. 55%. Okay, here's an interesting comparison. So this is one of these alleged 10 watt LEDs. Settings are all the same. We're at 1 meter away, 50mm on the lens, f5.6, a 47th of a second, and 100 ISO. So picture is dramatically down. We're at least a couple of stops down. So I'm going to bung the ISO up. That's 219%, 433%, 850%. So this lamp is a 10 watt lamp, is 3 full stops down on the LED lamps. So 3 full stops down. By way of comparison, we're back to lamp 1 in the same scenario again. We're still sitting at 800 ISO, 5.6, a 47th of a second. So I'm going to take the ISO back down from 800, 400, that's now measuring 84%, 200 is now measuring 68%, 100 is now back to 54%. So that's 3 stops brighter on that piece of paper on the wall. So the current settings on lamp 1 is at full power, f5.6, a 47th of a second, 100 ISO. So this is lamp 1 again at f5.6, a 47th of a second, 100 ISO. Spot metering at 54%. I've switched the white balance to flash at the moment, so I've switched the white balance to flash. The small histogram seems to be showing definite tendence towards red and green with a bit of blue lacking. I'm going to switch over to lamp 2 and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so here's lamp 2 in the same scenario. That's f5.6, a 47th of a second, 100 ISO. And we're currently set for flash white balance, so we seem to have about the same tint to red to green with lacking in blue. Okay, so I'll go back to this 10 watt lamp now and see what we get there. Okay, and there we go as a practical example. We're on the same settings again, f5.6, 47th of a second, 100 ISO. So we're very low in the exposure. I'm going to go up 3 stops. So that's 3 stops, we're back to about the same exposure, pretty close. This time we've got a definite, I think predominant green with blue trailing behind on the histogram. So it's interesting to see what that looks like compared to the other ones. I can't think of any other tests that I can do offhand. Yeah, actually one more test comes to mind. So, final test, I think. This is a 500 watt halogen lamp that's pointed at the same space. We're currently at 847 f5.6. So I'm going to go back to the standard settings. So ISO back down to 100, we're now at 79–80%. So that's interesting. Let's bring up the aperture. So from 5.6 to 8 to 11. Okay, so it looks like the halogen 500 watt lamp is only about 2 stops brighter than the LED lamps, the CN126. Definite colour balance to this one is massively to red. Blue is dropping off dramatically, but interesting to see the difference here. So I'm going to go from this one straight back to the CN126. I'll go back to unit number 1. So that's currently f11 47th of a second, 100 ISO and 54-55%, and we're on flash balance. And this is with a 500 watt halogen. And here we go. So now we're back on the lamp number 1. We're at f11 47th of a second, 100 ISO, flash balance. We're definitely underexposed. We're only at 25%. So I'm going to go back down to f5.6 again, which is where we started. So there's f5.6, a 47th at 100 ISO, flash balanced. Slight hint towards the red, blue trailing behind again in the colour balance. So a 500 watt halogen at 1 metre away is only 2 stops brighter than a CN126. It's quite an interesting measurement, and hopefully this data is going to be useful to someone. Thanks for your time.